Welcome back to Star Wars Nerds Unite, episode number 100 and...
It's either 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Depending on
whether we...
How much partying you do at Celebration.
Right. So today we're going to be discussing...
So Jen, how was Celebration?
I'm actually really excited to see Freddie Prinze.
You had a good time.
I had a great time with Freddie Prinze Jr. And did you know that Sarah Michelle Gellar, for like their 15th wedding anniversary, finally changed her name to Sarah Michelle Prinze?
I refuse to believe that's his last name.
What?
What human being in Hollywood that was in Hollywood from a young age used their actual last name?
Freddie Prinze Jr.
He's a junior. I mean, if he changed his name, he couldn't be a junior
Joshua
anymore.
Smith III.
Yeah, but if he changed Prince, he wouldn't be a junior anymore. Maybe he likes it.
You know, I looked up...
The junior is made up.
It's not made up.
Do you know you can put
His father's name was Freddie Prinze.
Like, it's supposed to only be for lawyers, but like anybody can actually do it because it doesn't actually mean anything.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Is Freddie Prinze Jr.'s actual last name Prinze?
Prinze. It's not...
It'll figure it out. It's Google. Keep talking.
Okay. So I think I'm going to go by...
Is that his dad?
His last name is Prutzel.
What?
Oh.
Frederick Kirk Prutzel is his dad.
Why does it say Freddie Prinze?
Because that's the name he used as a
okay, so that was the name he changed. His dad changed his name to Freddie Prinze.
He didn't change his name. He used the name. His last name is Prutzel.
Okay.
Your mind is now blown.
Look up Freddie Prinze IMDb and see what his actual name is. I bet his dad actually named him that.
You can't change your last name. I mean, you can, but it's just strange.
Oh my God.
Just see what his name is.
Do it right now.
It's all a farce.
Anyway, Sarah Michelle Gellar is now Sarah Michelle Prinze.
Prinze.
She changed it.
Pretzel.
They've been married for like 16 years.
Since 2002, yeah. 15 years.
And they're going to be there.
That's romantic.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah Michelle Prinze. Nay. I can't... The word nay, I love it. The French word, it's ni, I think is how they pronounce it. But
does she go by SMG anymore?
SMP.
SMP?
I don't think she ever went by SMG.
Yes, she did. You weirdo. Everybody called her that.
That's like what all the cool girls, when they wanted to talk about Buffy. Did you see what SMG wore to this?
Yeah. Oh,
was it the cool girls or the nerdy guys? Because it sounds like you guys have had this conversation.
Whatever. You wouldn't know. You didn't hang out with anybody cool. We were the cool ones.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember... I'm not going to... Let's just move on.
What?
It's not worth discussing.
What?
It's just more teenage...
You got my gander up.
Teenage television star nicknames.
What?
The one that annoyed me the most was Jennifer Love Hewitt. Everyone would call her Love.
Oh, J-Love.
No, just Love.
I didn't know that. Oh, I never called her Love.
What world did you live in?
I didn't live in a world where people called her Love.
Don't you think Jenny kind of looks like Jennifer Love?
No.
Oh my God.
Not at all.
I think she does.
Whatever. I've never heard anybody call her Love.
Okay. Oh, you're going to Google
What is Jennifer Love Hewitt's nickname? It didn't get it. There it goes. The internet was slow.
Fine. Okay, today we're going to be talking about Star Wars Rebels, believe it or not. Ghosts of Geonosis. Sorry, I can't talk.
Parts 1 and 2.
Part 1 and 2, we're going to rate them separately so I don't mess with Josh's scoring system again. And but we're going to do them both as one episode because, Lord in heaven, why would we need to do two?
Right.
Who's going to do the synopsis on this? Jennifer, last time
J-Love!
What's the first one?
Love.
Yeah, I called her J-Love.
Yeah. My nickname is J Van.
J Van?
Yeah.
Who named?
I have a million nicknames. I have so many nicknames.
Is that a self-ascribed nickname?
No, I've never self-ascribed any of my nicknames. They're all authentic
from other people?
From people I used to work with.
Idiots.
Yeah.
What's my nickname, honey?
You don't have one?
What's it take to get a nickname?
I don't know.
You
People
guys, you guys both have nicknames.
I
and I
have
don't
so
have one.
many.
Why wasn't yours Pamela Ding Dong?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
That would have been a good one.
Because that was my maiden name. People are going to be like, why would they call her Pamela Ding Dong?
Because it's awesome.
Go ahead with the synopsis, Jenny.
I don't want to. I don't know. It's kind of a big letdown because the last episode they were like
And you know what the worst
finding
part
out
is?
about Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it's like, yeah.
So you had this was the second half season premiere.
Yeah.
So you had the month and a half off.
And then it was a two-parter.
You're like, oh my God, Saw Gerrera is on Rebels. It's back.
So
That was
yeah.
a good Saw
Now that
impersonation.
that was me vomiting.
Oh, you sounded like Saw.
Now that you bring up Saw, he's equally as disturbing in animated form.
This was the big Rebels tie-in or Rogue One tie-in that didn't need to happen.
Anyway, I don't understand why they were on such like a huge push to get to Obi-Wan, and then now we're on this trip to Geonosis.
They aren't on a push to get to Obi-Wan. Ezra is, and he still doesn't know where he is.
He just knows twin sons.
Okay, I guess. They don't know where Obi-Wan is, but Geonosis is more important right now.
Fusion bombs or whatever, proton bombs is more important.
Well, it was
No,
poison.
they were going there for a rescue mission.
There were these canisters.
The canisters.
Canisters with poison in them. Like some special poison canister. And like they had, whatever. They were trying to
to
get
rescue
them.
Saw's team.
Saw's team went there for something.
And
right.
It was partly a rescue mission, and then they get there and Saw's the only one left.
Right.
And he's crazy as ever.
Super crazy, and he was bested by a 8-year-old Geonosian boy.
He was really like abusive to this. They only found one living Geonosian, and he was super little. And Saw's like trying to beat him up to get some answers because somebody killed his crew.
The Geonosian, the 8-year-old Geonosian boy had all these traps and stuff set up.
Yeah, they were like
He's
in the
chaotic
cave.
good.
They were in like, a bunch of different tunnels and stuff underground. And anyway, you find out that the reason he was trying to keep everybody away and protect his, I don't know. He was protecting a queen egg.
The last
one.
So the question comes up.
Is it the queen that
Is it
Vader
the queen
fight?
from Darth Vader?
It has to be if it's the
Vader
last
comic.
one.
Maybe.
But that one had,
Half robot.
robot modifications.
Well, what if the boy is
But-
just
but-
like, I'm going to start clamping on robot parts
Yeah,
when the
do you
queen's
remember
coming
the
up?
B1 battle droid that they showed? Like it was on top of the egg when he retrieved it.
Yeah, but it was just because he was hiding it.
But there was also the whatever they were called from the Separatist time, the battle droids.
That's what he just said, the
Yeah.
B1 battle droid.
Oh, they were all over the planet too.
Roger.
So anyway, they were trying to convince Saw not to like kill this little bug, and he just wanted answers and wants to know what's up with his crew, like why he killed the crew and what they're really doing on the planet because he doesn't trust them.
Well,
And
because
so-
they fought against the Geonosians. The Geonosians were a separatist.
So
Yeah, and they made a bunch of weapons. They
So
made the
then-
weapon that killed Saw's sister.
Yeah.
oh yeah, so then they're like, "Tell us what you did here. What happened?" And he's like drawing a picture of the Death Star.
He keeps drawing, and they don't get it.
It's
Every
like,
time they see a
"It's
circle
the
with a circle
Death
inside,
Star."
oh, that's what he's talking about. The egg. Oh, it's the canisters. Oh, it's this
Yeah.
rock on the wall.
It's very clearly a picture of the Death Star, and they're just bad at Pictionary.
Well, they don't know the Death Star exists.
Well,
That was seriously the coolest part of the episode. Most likely was the little Geonosian boy drawing the Death Star.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was
It was
great.
kind of exciting. So-
That seems like the kind of like referential throwback bullcrap
but-
that you don't like.
His people got wiped out after they helped build the Death Star. He saw it orbiting his planet, and then
Yeah.
everyone got killed.
Yeah, I get it.
So like it's this. Maybe he thinks it's a god that smote his people.
I don't think so.
Well, they
I
kept
don't
saying,
know.
"What were you guys doing? What were you guys? I don't know.
What were you building?
What were you building? What Anyway, so they talk. They protect like Kanan and Ezra. They protect the Geonosis, especially when they find out he has this egg.
And it makes Saw really angry.
Saw gets
they
really
call him
mad.
Klak.
Click clack.
Yeah, they call the Geonosis Klak.
Sounds like a name
Sabine
I'd make up.
and Zeb are able to get something.
Meanwhile, there's a storm going on. A big sandstorm.
A sandstorm is outside.
And they're so deep in the tunnels that the away team can't contact.
There's no communication
Or they're on the
with each
Phantom.
other.
They're not on the Ghost.
But Sabine and Zeb, they get some kind of weapon or something. Canister. I don't know what
they
it's in
find
it.
out there's a bunch of destroyer droids out in the middle of this. They sense like a power source because this 8-year-old Geonosian has all these booby traps and he's got like a shield generator and he's got all kinds of stuff to try and protect. He's the MacGyver of Geonosis. And so they go to the power source, and then this is at the same time the little kid is in his lair and he hits like the emergency get all the destroyer droids out of the ground switch.
Yeah, Hera, Sabine, and Zeb were after that. They were going to take apart the part of the shield generator that actually generates the shield.
Because
So
they could use it on a capital ship
somewhere
or
else,
something.
There was these big things they were dragging back to the ship before.
Yeah, that was the shield generator. That was the piece of the shield generator that they harvested, the core of the shield generator.
Okay.
And that was when they were moving through the destroyer droids that were underneath the sand.
They just look like mounds. You didn't know that
Yeah.
they were destroyer droids
Well,
until
they-
it was
you
too
they
late.
knew.
They were poking out.
But they were
trying-
still asleep at the
Yeah,
time.
and they were just
That's what it
trying to
was.
sneak past him. Anyway, so that's all I remember.
They ultimately, the Empire shows up, right?
Yeah.
And they decide they find the poison canisters at the bottom of a big crevasse. Sabine and Zeb get the shield generator to work, and they use it to walk through the field of destroyer droids
Right.
to get back to the ship.
Which is actually a pretty cool scene.
Yeah.
It was probably the coolest part of this whole episode, I thought.
I disagree. I've already elaborated on that.
Yeah.
And then they fight the Empire. The Ghost comes down into the pit, the crevasse,
the cave thing.
picks them up, picks up the poison things, right?
Yeah.
And then on the way out, because they're going to use the poison, this is what it was. They were using the poison things as evidence to the Senate
Right.
that there was genocide on Geonosis, and the Empire did it because it had Empire logos on it.
Right.
I completely missed all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They revealed it was like all at the end of the episode.
Right.
Well, maybe I
And-
fell asleep.
So as the Ghost is flying out, somehow the mag locks break and the gas cylinders fall back down into the hole, and they lost their evidence, and the whole reason they went ceases
And
to
they
exist.
took Saw with them, right?
They saved Saw, yeah.
Ugh.
Well, they took pictures of the canisters.
Yeah, but
So
it won't
while
hold
it
up.
won't be enough to convince the Senate, it would be enough to get
some
more worlds on their
systems there,
side. And they also blasted through the whatever cruiser was after them, the Imperial cruiser,
Right.
because they were blocking the hole that they were trying to come out
Right,
of.
the Imperial cruiser covered the hole that they were in.
What a rookie.
Yeah, rookie maneuver.
But that was when they lost the canisters.
Yep.
Yeah, but Saul was insufferable through this whole thing.
Yeah, he was
He
pretty
was
annoying.
super
was
mean,
just-
super weird.
He was himself.
He was Saw as
His
we know him.
delightful self.
Yeah, I don't like him even more after watching this episode. He was really mean and
And this was like
irrational.
before he was like
crazy,
super crazy, and he had to breathe through the constant mask and
Yeah, he hadn't
everything.
lost his legs yet.
So
at this
they
point.
should have made him more tolerable, because it doesn't make sense that he's this much of a jerk already.
I think they had to show a progression, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess they don't have to, but it's more believable if they do.
At this point, he was super angry about his sister still.
Yeah. Yeah, he's real mad about his sister. And that was why he holds
Okay.
such a grudge against that Klak.
Right, because he's a separatist and
Right.
he made the weapons. And
Oh
yeah,
boy.
so that's it. The Ghosts of Geonosis.
Yeah. I bet Klak did make the queen that makes the...
Into the Robot Queen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody's still drawing circles to talk to people.
Oh, we should check the art. Maybe there's double circles in the background and stuff.
Maybe.
Somebody in Nerd Squadron, go check that out. In the Darth Vader comic. When we were complaining about the weird cyborg.
Geonosian Queen.
Yeah. What else do we want to talk about this episode? You're like done, I can tell already.
Me?
Yeah.
Well, we covered it.
Did we?
There's nothing else to talk about.
Not for that. I mean,
It was fine.
there wasn't any character development other than Saw development, devolving. All the main characters didn't really do a whole lot. I guess the big thing that comes back is the shield generator. That's the big to do about what they got off of Geonosis is the shield generator.
All right. I guess I'm done talking about it then. This
We got to rate.
if you're gonna skip 2 episodes of this season, go ahead and skip
Yeah, I
these.
mean, knowing that they got the shield generator is all you need to know.
This came out on your birthday, Jenny. How does that make you feel?
Cheated.
Cheated. It's like fate wanted you to love Saw, and you just wouldn't have it.
Like it was a sick
Get
joke.
out of here, Saw.
All right. Emails.
Well, we need to rate it.
Oh, yeah.
6.5.
We got to give separate ones. Or you could give
Uh,
6.5 to both if you so desire.
I honestly can't separate them in my head on which one was which, so I'll just say 6.5 for both.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to go 6 on the first episode, and I'm going to go 5 on the second episode.
There was a lot more action in the second episode,
It wasn't nearly as good.
but it wasn't as good.
And there was a lot more Saw, and there was poor Geonosian boy abuse.
I'm going to go 7 for the first one because it's got the cool Death Star part. And 5 for the second one.
I think the second one's where they had the Death Star
No,
part,
it
buddy.
wasn't. It was
Yes,
in the first one.
No, it wasn't.
I don't think so.
Okay, you're wrong.
I don't think so.
I just watched it tonight.
I don't think so.
Okay, first letter's from Seth.
No. You can't read that. It's about...
No, it's a different one from Seth.
What about the one from Drew?
We'll get to it.
He says, "Hey all, I thought my twin son's email was virtually spoiler-free. I think I'm now probably the only listener that has had 2 emails start in one episode and finish in another, so that's something. Anyway, we went up to visit family during spring break and figured we would show them a few episodes of Star Wars Rebels since my in-laws were all Star Wars fans but had never seen any of Rebels. We watched Twilight of the Apprentice last night, and the Maul Funko Pop was definitely from these episodes. When he is dueling Kanan, he has no shirt, and when Kanan is focusing on the sound of Maul's steps, since he had just been blinded, you can see that Maul's newest feat allow him to wear boots. Looking forward to hearing all about Celebration. Undesignated nerd, Seth, at Snowwiss. Thanks, Seth. Now we know where your sweet Maul pop came from.
At least where it was inspired from.
All right, here we go. This one's from Drew. He says, SWNU crew. Mason has taken his terrible argument to the internet. This harkens back to episode number 100?
102, I think.
No.
It
This is
was-
the one where we talked about your theory. Please re-explain it.
It's not a theory. It's a discussion on the food, the heat of the temperature of food.
That's not what the discussion is, though.
It is.
Okay.
He
Well, tell
thinks
us
that
again.
if somebody gives you a piece of hot food, it's their job to warn
If
you.
somebody knows that you're focusing on something else and they prepare you food, part of the burden is on them to give you food that is safe to consume. That is the premise that I put forth.
Okay. Just read
Which is ridiculous.
Read the email.
Email. Mason has taken his terrible argument to the internet. He knows my opinion, but for sake of clarity, I agree with Jen and Tin. Of course, it's the person's own fault for burning their mouth on hot food. No way does the cook/server have responsibilities for that. With a few disclaimers, if you are serving a young child, then the server, assuming it is their parent/guardian, has a level of responsibility. The only other exception I see is if an item that is not traditionally expected to be dangerously hot, then a warning is expected, as an example, if the plate is hot. But if you burn yourself by touching a fajita plate, then you deserve it. The sizzling should be warning enough. Good point.
Again, I would propose that a person focused on something else is equivalent to a child.
What?
They're incapable of making a judgment in that moment.
But it's not the person presenting the food's fault that
It
they're
is
distracted.
Partially their fault that they provided food that is unsafe for consumption.
Oh my gosh. No, it's not.
It is.
No.
Then why is McDonald's at fault when their coffee's too hot?
They weren't at fault.
They
Josh.
were.
They were at fault, and it wasn't just regular hot. It was like
Too hot.
boiling,
Right.
and it like gave this lady 3rd-degree burns. It wasn't just like, oh, she spilled a little bit of coffee. It was really bad.
They were at fault. The person serving, there's a burden of expectation.
But
you provide.
that was like the temperature of liquid hot magma. Like,
That's 20 years ago.
I don't know
too.
how that's any different than a piece of pizza that just came out of the oven. Boiling water is 212 degrees.
Oh.
Oven pizza could exceed 450 degrees depending on the brand.
Also,
what
exactly.
brand gets the hottest?
Well, it just depends on like if they want the crispy
Depends
crispy
on
crust.
surface density.
Okay, keep going.
Also, exactly, no one knows what a bollard is without Google. But now that Tim and Jen agree with me, tell the story. It is pretty funny. What's a bollard, Josh?
Nobody knows what a bollard is, which boggles my mind.
Does it bollard your mind?
No, it does not. So bollards are the typically concrete, could be steel, posts that you will find in many places where you would also find vehicles that they use to prevent vehicles from going places. So parking lots. It's not a barricade. It's just a solitary pole. So that pole is a bollard. If it had cross members, it would be a fence or a rail or a barricade. A station. So like in front of Target, they use big round balls to be bollards because their target is their logo.
Right.
But if you go to most other places, they'll just have post. Those are bollards.
Right. I know what a bollard is now.
Right.
Thank you for
They're
clarifying.
everywhere.
So what's the story?
So Drew and I we were in Germany,
Germany.
in Regensburg, which is it's one of the few cities in Eastern Germany that did not get firebombed in World War II.
Oh.
So its old city is still the old city. So the roads are tiny. Like, you can't fit 2 cars through the roads, but they still make it so you can drive 2 cars through the roads. And I had rented a Mercedes-Benz wagon, being the practical chap that I am,
So that you'd have plenty of room.
for luggage
Right.
and 4 adult human beings.
Uh-huh.
And we did. We had plenty of room. And it had backup. It had parking sensors. It didn't have cameras. It just had the beeping sensors.
Uh-huh.
And they were in the front and the back. And we were staying at this hotel that is in an old monastery. And their parking lot, there's a parking lot like inside the courtyard. Because everything has courtyards because like it's an old
Yeah.
medieval Roman design,
Yeah, yeah.
basically. And so in the top of the courtyard, there's a parking lot, and there's also a parking deck below that has. Have you ever seen the parking decks in Japan and parts of Germany, parts of Europe in general, where you park on a lift and then it lifts your car up?
Yeah.
So you can park another car underneath.
Uh-huh.
So it had one of those underneath it. So, anyways, we were parking up in the courtyard, and I had parked the car, and then we were going somewhere. I can't remember where. But Drew and I were going somewhere, and it was Drew's turn to drive. We would switch off driving because we both loved driving on the Autobahn as fast as we possibly could,
Uh-huh.
which I have driven the fastest at 224 kilometers per hour.
For the record.
For the record. I don't think Drew ever exceeded 200 kilometers per hour,
What a
which
whim.
is quite fast. I think we got 4 miles to the gallon for my leg of the trip.
Oh my gosh.
Because I was at wide open throttle basically in 6th gear. It was,
Don't you feel like you're gonna die going that fast?
No, I don't. Cars are designed to go that fast.
My car is not designed to go that fast.
Your car would easily do 110 without any problems at all.
I blow around on the road doing 80.
All right, so when you're going faster, you're going to get blown around less because you have more downforce if your car is properly designed.
Obviously not.
Well, anyways, the cars are designed to go that fast. And it feels completely safe. As long as you're capable of understanding that your closing distance is a lot different. And like people were passing us. Like that's
Yeah.
I was going ludicrously fast compared to
They're in their Ferraris.
No, just in normal little Polos and VW Golfs blasting past us.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't know if you paused. You touched the keyboard.
Yeah, I know. There was something funny going on with the audio.
All right.
Like,
So anyways, I had parked the car. It was Drew's turn to drive, and it was just Drew and I. This was a business trip. This is a weird part of the story. But we were at this monastery, and two of our coworkers left 2 days before we did. They were going off to Poland, where Drew and I were going off to Stuttgart to go visit Robert Bosch. And they had left the night before, and I got down to I can't think of the front desk, but what's the person who works the front desk?
Concierge.
But he's not concierge.
Bellboy.
Concierge is like the person who arranges you a taxi and tells you where to go eat. Anyways, the person at the front desk, they're like, yeah, your coworkers, they couldn't pay, like the credit card machine was down and they couldn't pay for their rooms, so you need to pay for it. I was like, hold on a second. This is some sort of scam, right? You're going to charge me like 1,200 euros for these rooms. I can't call my friends. They're in Poland now. Like, what is going on? And they wouldn't let us leave until I paid for their rooms. So I paid
Your friends didn't like give you a heads up?
They had to make their plane.
They didn't have texting back then?
We were in Europe and no one
running?
had phones that worked in Europe.
Why would you go there without a phone that worked?
Not everyone needs a phone all the time. It's a weird thing, but you don't need a phone all the time.
I think one time that you especially need a phone is when you're in a foreign country.
So we had one phone.
That's probably like the one time that you would need to communicate.
So don't you remember my last Germany story where we drove?
Yes.
I drove all throughout the night because we didn't have a phone, and Drew refused to go ask if they took actual credit cards. So anyways, I had to pay for their room, so that was crazy to start off with.
Was it legit?
Yeah, it was totally legit. I had to do a bunch of stupid paperwork when I had to do expense reporting because reasons. But anyways, back to the car. We're ready to leave. Drew is backing out, and it's a tight squeeze in a courtyard, and there's a bollard. Like, I parked in the first spot, and there's a bollard right there. And so Drew's backing out, and anywhere you go, these parking sensors are useless because everything is so short. We'd be driving down the road and they'd be beeping. So it got to the point where you just tune out the parking sensors and just kind of trust your gut. And so I knew it was tight. I got out and I was, telling Drew, all right, come on, turn. He wasn't turning. And I'm like, I finally just tell him to stop. I kept on saying, there's a bollard back here. You're getting closer to the bollard. You're like 5 inches from the bollard. And Drew's response was, I don't know what the heck a bollard is. It must be like a bird or something. And like,
oh my gosh.
So he just kept going and going. And finally I screamed at him to stop. And he finally stopped and he got out. And it was at least maybe a centimeter in between the car and the bollard. And it was just, I thought he was going to wreck my rental car, scratch it all up.
He's backing out at like 0 speed. How's he going to?
Have you seen a modern car? Like, if you get enough force on those quarter panels, they explode.
Oh my gosh.
So I already dealt with the shyster monastery hotel owner trying to milk me out of 1,200 extra euros. And now we had to drive this thing to Stuttgart.
What kind of hotels did you guys stay in? There were 1,200 euros.
Well, so that was for 6 nights for, 3 nights for 2 people. So, I mean, it's 200 euros a night. That's a pretty standard rate.
That's still a lot.
It's in the old town. It was right next to the cathedral in Regensburg is very famous.
Okay.
And it's the monastery right next to the cathedral.
You were putting Jenny to sleep. The story did not have didn't have it like I was expecting.
It was meandering. It was way funnier in the moment.
Oh, I'm sure it was hilarious.
Because he just did not. I kept saying, you're
Because-
going to hit this bollard. You're going to hit this bollard. And it just went right over his.
Yeah, what a dummy.
How tall was the bollard? How did he not see that there was?
It was probably 3 feet tall.
Standard bollard.
Standard
height.
bollard. They're high enough that your bumper will hit it, but not high enough that it gets up to your rear view window. And I mean, it was tight. Like, the whole situation was tight. I got it. I snuck that thing in there really well. And that's the bollard story anyways.
The real
This
point
reminds
of the story.
me of Uva when he gets really mad about the way the neighbor is driving and
Backing
he
up the
yells at
trailer.
him and tells him to get out and he drives it. There's
A
a
Man
book
Called
called A
Uva.
Man Called Uva. It's about this angry old man who thinks everyone else is an idiot.
How do you spell his name?
OVE.
He's from Sweden, I think.
Yeah.
But he reminds me of you. He's this angry old man
You
who
should
thinks
watch- it's a
everyone
movie.
is an
You
idiot.
should watch it.
And he's constantly yelling.
So he was clearly an idiot in this scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he
I'm telling him exactly, very specifically what is happening.
Yes.
And he ignores it.
Yeah, that's Uva. He's Uva. P.S. He continues. Jen pretending to be Forrest, saying, "Why did you come?" Oh wait, you want to do it?
no, there's no why.
Did you come here to kill me? Is now what instantly comes to mind whenever I see him on TV and I laugh. Classic. You want to do it one more time?
Not right now.
You sure?
Hmm.
One time.
No, I'm not going to do it when you build it up. It has to be
you
authentic.
You should totally take advantage of your fame and just ship your exchange student around to Nerd Squadron. Just imagine her trying to explain that to her family back home. PSS, little s. Actually, don't do that. It's a terrible idea. Drew. Thanks for the email. We are Star Wars Nerds Unite. We are on the internet, StarWarsNerdsUnite.com. You can check out our Amazon link there. We're on Patreon if you want to support us there. We're on the BenView Network. We are on Retro Junkies Network. There's a bunch of great podcasts over there. Check those out. We're on Twitter, Facebook, all those places. Interact with us. We love it.
The next time Drew sends a letter, he'll have to remind me to tell the third great story.
There's a
That-
trilogy. There's
There
a
is-
German trilogy.
There is another
The finale German
fantastic
story.
about the drive to Stuttgart.
Okay. All right. I'm looking forward to it.
Do you guys like almost get a parking ticket?
No, this is way cooler.
Oh, Jennifer.
We were about 85% certain we were gonna become Croatian like human trafficking slaves.
Okay. We'll save that story for next
Why
time.
didn't you tell us that instead of this boring baller story?
Because the Ballard story was brought up.
Okay. We're a Star Wars podcast, believe it or not. And may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the force be with you.
Did you hear that? We're doomed.
This podcast is a part of the BenView Network.
You can find this and other podcasts like it at benviewnetwork.com.
Hi, I'm Brendan Creasy,
And I'm Phil Vecchio.
and we are the hosts of Radio Brendoman on the BenView Network.
We talk about all kinds of stuff on our podcast.
Like what?
Like toys and movies and video games and books and other stuff. Poo.
Talk about poo.
Definitely talk about poo.
And if that sounds cool to you, and we talk about it every week, go to radiobrendo.com or go to our page on benviewnetwork.com. And yeah, thanks a lot.